Hello, friends. It is Thursday again, October 23rd, 2025. Welcome to another episode of the Kingsman and the Cyber Guy podcast. I am your host, the Cyber Guy, Darren Mott, retired FBI supervisory special agent. Along with me, as always, the Kingsman, Michael McQuaid. And also, we're both co-founders of Five Eyes Ltd., company that helps logistics firms and other companies beyond logistics, if needed, secure their have a better cybersecurity profile. Mike, how's it going?
All good over here.
Sorry.
All good on this.
I don't hear you there. What am I doing wrong? Is your mic on?
Mic's on.
Oh, you know what? Darren, go say something. I had the wrong thing turned up. Go ahead. Yep.
Yo.
Yeah, that was my fault. I put up the wrong slider. Darren After Dark drops the ball.
You used to be a DJ. Come on, man.
No, that's sad. That's pathetic. Anyway. All right. So we were going to do a dark web episode this week. So I have a guy who's actually going to come on and walk us through some dark web stuff that he has access to. I tried accessing some of those dark websites that we mentioned last week, but I wasn't going to pay them $500 to get access. It wasn't that important to me, quite honestly. So I did that. I tried a couple of those and they wanted money. I said, screw you guys. I'm not going that route. So we're going to take a different track this week and we're going to basically beat on a dead horse because we are not going to be the first ones that have this conversation about a hack that just occurred over in the UK and is causing all sorts of interesting news things. But we're going to come at it from a different perspective than most because 20 years in the FBI, decade or more in UK intelligence, let's just say that. We can't use certain letters and stuff because that would be wrong. But we're going to take it from that perspective and see what does it mean for Land Rover or Jaguar Land Rover? What's it mean for UK logistics companies in general? Because it kind of hits all of that as well. And hopefully bring you somewhat of a unique perspective, hopefully, on what this particular intrusion means, just kind of from a larger perspective. Because, and we were talking about this before we came on, that it's one of those things. Oops, sorry, let me bring in your picture. I don't know why that didn't work. Why? If a company like Jaguar Land Rover can get compromised, anybody can, right? And then we've said this many times with all the different hacks, the Co-op and M&S and whatever else, and all the ones over here in the U.S. And I would like to think, and listen, if anyone's listening to this and wants to tell me why I'm wrong or how we're thinking about this wrong, I would love you to message me, email me, Darren@thecyberguy.com or whatever. But this should be a learning experience for companies that haven't been compromised yet. It just means they haven't come for you yet, right? So before we kind of get in this discussion a little bit, and I'll let you kind of chime in here, Mike, in a minute. I'm going to kind of walk through what happened here, and you can see where the flaws are, and I'll leave it for that. So I've filibustered long enough, Mike, for 3 minutes. So you go ahead, take it home.
Yeah, so after the Jaguar Land Rover cyber attack, I went on to the dark web tool that we use, which shows the stealer logs and the leaked credentials. And it was the leaked credentials that grabbed my attention most, because stealer logs, you see it all the time. And the leaked credentials, we see all the time. And when it comes to leaked credentials, something we see all the time is very, very weak passwords. And one that stood out to me the most was the admin password. So the account was admin@glr.com and the password was password123, which has got to be that, and KWERTY has got to be one of the most used passwords because it's just such an easy one to use. But because of these easy passwords, it's like a hacker is able to do their job so quickly because they make it so easy for them.
Right. And one other thing that you brought to my attention, because it's something we do all the time when we talk to companies, the first thing we do is check
unknown caller.
Sorry. That's a scam. Okay. Here's what we're gonna do. This is a scam call. So I'm getting a scam call in the middle of this. So we're gonna divert and listen to the scam call. So let's learn from this. Hello.
Let's go for it.
Hello.
Hi, this is Steven from Final Expense Department. How are you doing today?
I'm great, Steven. How are you?
I am also good. Thanks for asking. This short call is about Final Expense Low Cost Insurance Plan. which is designed to cover 100% cost of your funeral, burial, and cremation expenses. So, just to qualify, may I know how old are you?
Wait, am I going to die soon? Do you know something I don't know, Stephen?
Sir, I am not asking to buy and to change anything. I am just here to give you information.
Right, but hold on. So you're talking about my funeral. Are you a doctor, Stephen? Do you know something I don't know? Am I about to
Yes,
die?
sir. Oh, right, sir. Right, sir. Sir, just confirm your age is 59 and your zip code is 28075, right?
No, my age is 74 and my zip code is 17265. Where are you getting your information, Stephen?
You're holding 74. Very well done.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for your
Well, wait,
cooperation.
am I
Just
di-
take
but
a minute.
I'm curious, but still, Steve, am I sick? Do you know if I'm sick? I mean, you may know something I don't know
Sir, just
because I'm curious now.
okay, sir. Okay, but just take a minute to hold on, please.
Okay.
Oh, Stephen's got character.
Your call is very important to us.
Oh,
Please
good.
stay on the line and you'll be transferred to the next available agent.
Excellent.
What are you putting you hold for? I've never had this done before on a spam call.
That's a good one.
This is good.
Okay, so now hold on. So now you come on talking. So you start. So you're now.
Sir, sir, please just take a minute.
Well,
Thank you so much for holding in the line. My name is Chris. How are you?
Hello, how can I help you today?
hello.
Your call is transferred over to me, and I will be happy to assist you. Your final expense code.
What happened to
my
Stephen? I like
associate
Stephen.
mentioned
I like Stephen had a very calming voice. What happened to him?
Where's Stephen at?
Hello, Chris. You still there, Chris? Okay, that's it. Oh, well, that was a fun interlude. So I hope, if anything else, I hope we brought some humor to this podcast because it's going to get stale here in a minute. But anyway, so we were back talking. Let's go back talk. And the funny thing is, I will probably get another call while we're sitting here. So I'm going to keep that on. So if we do, so the next, I don't know why they could. Oh, I know why. I don't think your voice goes down the line to my phone. I think that's the problem. So he couldn't hear you. So that's all right though. The good thing is you can tell me things to say and they won't hear me say it. So that'd be good. So if that happens again, we'll because I've had like 5 of these today. That's the first one I've answered. That's actually the good thing is we didn't have the automated call at the beginning. But anyway, back to Land Rover, Jaguar Land Rover. So one of the things you mentioned was one of the things we do when we talk to companies is, how's your email set up, right? And so we have this. It's an online tool. Anybody can use it. And I'm going to see if I can bring up a window with that real quick here, and we can take a quick peek at. And again, if you're on YouTube, this will make more sense to you. If you're not on YouTube, then you're just going to have to trust me what we're saying. But essentially, it's called easydmark.com, and it goes on. You can put in your domain, and it'll tell you what the risk is to your email security. Like for Five Eyes Ltd, I'm not going to bring up the screen because it's going to take too long. Our overall score is 10 out of 10, meaning we have low risk. We have everything set up correctly. There's 3 settings in an email that you put together: your sender policy framework, your domain-based message authentication, reporting, and conformance, and your domain keys identified mail. Okay, it's SPF, DMARC, and DKIM respectively. And you should have all those set correctly. And if you do, your risk here is low. So Jaguar Land Rover, who recently had a cyber incident, are still dealing with it, losing $50 million a week because of it, impacting 5,000 jobs across the UK. They're one of the largest UK employers. Their score out of 10 is 1. They have no sender policy framework. They have no domain key identified mail, and they only have their DMARC set to incorrectly. So it's funny thing is, here's the funny thing is, if you look at their DMARC record, when you set up a DMARC, and this is getting way in the weeds in email, and there are people a lot smarter on email security than I am. So if you're listening, you're one of those people, and you're listening to me, and I explained this wrong, let me know. But in your DMARC record, you want to put in what email address to send the results of queries, right? So I get that every day for our company. It comes to me. I get it from my Gold Shields email. So you set that up with what's called a RUA equals, meaning the report something, whatever the report, I forget what RUA stands for exactly, but mails it to whoever. On theirs, it mails it to the default entity for which they created the line for the DMARC code. They didn't even go in and change it so that someone at Jaguar Land Rover gets that there's something wrong with their email. That's how bad it is for them. In addition to that, if you look at how this happened, one of the things that they did not have set up inconsistently across their network was multi-factor authentication. So all you needed was a username and password to get in. So Mike, talk about why all that's bad.
So I think it's important for the listeners who are perhaps not part of our world to understand what is DMARC, SPF, and DKIM. So I've got an analogy that I use that just simplifies it, that's not technical talk, and brings it into an analogy that most people would understand. So the company email system is like a house, and there's the checks, which is DMARC, SPF, and DKIM. So DMARC is the equivalent of there's no guard at the door. So imagine you're having a house party and you've got security at the front door to make sure that the correct people are coming into the house. DMARC, if you haven't got it enabled, is like the equivalent of no guard at the door. So DMARC is like the security guard who checks IDs at the door. So without DMARC, anyone can pretend to be you and send fake emails using your name. Hackers love this because it makes phishing attacks much easier. SPF, on the other hand, is the equivalent of having no guest list. So you've got the security guard at the front door, but he's got no guest list. So people come and say, I'm here to join the house party, and they go, I don't even know this person's coming to the house party. I don't even know who this person is. So it's like the guest list for your house party. It tells email servers only these people are allowed to send emails for us. Without it, strangers can walk right in and pretend they belong. And lastly, DKIM is the signature on your letter. So imagine you're sending letters from your house. So anyone can write a fake letter and pretend it came from your house. People receiving it might believe it's real, even if it's a scam. And hackers can change the messaging when it's getting sent, and no one would know. So bringing it back in technical terms, if you send an email from point A to point C, there's a point B in the middle where the hacker grabs it, changes it, and then directs it to C, and C has no idea that it's even a scam. So I thought I would bring it back as to what it means in non-technical term.
Very good.
Would that pass?
That's very good. That's excellent. Yes, you could have been a school teacher. That was well placed. Well placed.
Oh no, I could not have been a school teacher.
Okay. All right. So so that's exactly. So and we say all this just to say Jaguar Land Rover wasn't even doing the simple stuff. Still not doing it today, for God's sake. So so how did this attack? Let's just kind of walk a timeline through this attack and then kind of talk some things onto that. So it's basically there was no 0-day exploit. It was social engineering and credential abuse. So basically someone called and said, hey, I need you to reset my password. And someone said, okay, I'll reset it. So they had the username, they got IT to reset the password, and now they got in. And the other problem was, again, no multi-factor authentication. They also had poor permission structure, meaning they gave extreme access to certain accounts that necessarily didn't need it, meaning that they could move across the network, go into places they weren't supposed to. And some credentials were shockingly outdated. Reports showed that passwords stolen as far back as 2021 still worked in 2025. So I'm going to also guess that people who no longer work there probably still had active accounts. That's my guess. In addition to that, they had no monitoring or anomaly detection, so they didn't even see the stuff going on. They had no networks or insufficient network segmentation, meaning everything was kind of connected together. And so just a host of problems for a company. And now they're losing, what was it, 50 million a week? 50 million pounds a week, something along those lines?
So here's a question for you, Darren, right?
Yep.
I'm going to play devil's advocate because I'm thinking, what would somebody counter to what you're saying, right? What would somebody say? Is that at all possible, because of the size of Jaguar Land Rover, that it's almost difficult to go back to the basics again? It's almost starting at day zero, as if Jaguar Land Rover just started last week, and rebuild it that way. Because this is something we discussed when we were speaking, especially small businesses, that this is the time to start implementing your cybersecurity posture, because as your business grows, your cybersecurity posture needs to grow with it. If you get to a certain point and you want to implement it as if it's day zero again, it's so much harder and difficult to implement it, because it's almost like you have to reverse things that you've done to rebuild again. That project can take years, like absolutely years to do. So do you think it's one of those scenarios where Jaguar Land Rover is so far ahead that it'd be difficult to bring it back, or they haven't either got, I'm not going to say budget because that's an excuse, they haven't perhaps got the expertise to bring it back to go forward?
Well, I would say you don't have to do it all at once. Start with the turn on multi-factor authentication everywhere. How about start just there? So you have to have a legitimate login, password, and multi-factor authentication to get into your network. Let's just start that. Second thing, it's not hard to outsource monitoring and watch your network and see all that stuff happen. We talk to those companies. They exist. They can do that kind of stuff. AI makes it easier. And so you would have seen this activity and said, ooh, that doesn't look right. Let's figure out what that is, and maybe we can block it. They weren't doing any of that stuff. So you can start with some easy stuff and get easy wins initially. Sure. Are they going to be able to, segmenting their network and doing all that stuff is going to take a while. It's going to take an investment, and it's going to take a strategic and tactical situation coming together, right? Someone's gonna have to strategically say, here's what we need to do. And then someone has to tactically say, okay, we're going to take that strategy and do it, right? Someone's going to say, here's how we need to build, here's how the hole needs to be built. And someone needs to build the hole. Those are two different sets of skills, but you need to bring them in to do that kind of thing. And so, you still there?
Still here.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You're screaming green for a second, but so I mean, it's not hard to get a little better than you were 3 months ago or 2 months ago when this all happened. So again, maybe they're learning from it, maybe they're not. But the other good thing is, like, here's what I would like to see. This is a separate thing altogether. Is come right out and say, here's everything that happened. Here's. I mean, let's be honest. If they come out and are very transparent with what happened to them, is it going to impact their business? Are people going to say, well, I'm not buying Jaguars anymore? People who buy Jaguars, Land Rovers, the actual customers don't give a shit and have not paid attention to this at all. They just know that, this would be a bigger problem with Tesla, where the cars started running on themselves, and that might probably be a problem. But for Jaguar Land Rover, people are still going to want to buy them. The problem is they're not going to be able to find them for a while because they're not going to be putting out as many. But that's my two takes.
So you just think there's literally no excuses for it at all. There's no excuses for it at all. Then
No.
So why do you think then they didn't do it?
Because it's never happened.
They can't surely think it wouldn't. They can't surely think it won't happen to us because they're a massive company. Like, from a cyber criminal's perspective, that's a trophy. That is going to get you so much credibility on the dark web. You're going to go for that big boy. So surely they cannot be. And I'd be interested to know if they've even got a CISO.
They have to.
Jaguar Land Rover.
There's got to be a CISO. And I think that. I think part of it, it's never happened to us before. And so I'm sure if they have a CISO, well, they're probably not listening to him, right? He's probably saying, we have all of this, we have this large entity now with this huge network, all these OT systems, because, you've got manufacturing as part of this and all that kind of stuff, that it's going to cost us $5 million to bring everything up to code, let's just say, so that we don't have a problem. And the people that make the decisions, like, we're not paying $5 million. That's ridiculous. Because what's the worst that could happen?
Yep.
So that's why. I mean,
you know what?
I was going to go on LinkedIn and see if they have a CISO, but I don't want to dime him out here. It's not his fault. I'm sure he said we need to do these things, and they didn't listen.
But I think, you know what it is? Like, the reason I've asked that question is the more I investigate Jaguar Land Rover, look at the open source stuff, right? The more you can just see why it happened. So if you investigated to see if they're a CISO or not, it's like, see if they don't have one, then it's like they had all the recipes for a disaster.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, for the listeners, what a CISO is, a Chief Information Security Officer, in case you're not part of the cyber world. So,
all right, let me ask you this, Mike. I'm going to go to you because this is happening in your country. So, what does this mean for downstream providers so all the companies that service Jaguar, right? That provide them the sheet metal and the components and the computer pieces. How does this impact them?
So yeah, it's impacted over 5,000 companies. So there's 5,000 companies that are part of the GLR supply chain. And there was a documentary that was released on YouTube I watched it a couple of weeks ago, and a private investigator who loves to investigate like cyber incidents, he created a documentary on it. And he interviewed some of the local businesses around the area where GLR is situated and asked them, how is this impacting your business? And they said, GLR is our business. Without GLR, we don't have a business. We literally service GLR. So it's had this ripple effect. It's not only just affected GLR, it's also impacted over 5,000 companies in the UK who rely on GLR to deliver every week.
So it appears, to answer our question, there is a chief information security officer at Jaguar Land Rover, but he also has he's a director and co-founder of his own company. So he's got to find a second job in order to do what he's doing at there. So
it must be a fractional, surely. Must be.
I would guess, but even that's worse. Let's see how long he's been doing this. He's a young guy, I will say. I have more followers than he does, but there's that for me. So he's been doing it since September 2022. Says full time, but he's also got he owns his company. He used to work for Shell. He has been in information security for 8 years. His first job listed here is 8 years ago. His skill, want to know one of his skills? He's got 10 endorsements for this skill. Want to guess what it is?
Oh, it'll be like tennis or something.
Online gaming.
No, I love it. I love it.
And he's got 7 endorsements for the gaming industry.
So he's a Call of Duty player. Great. Good for him. Good for him. But
his other skills include casino, online gambling. Then he does have some business related. So I'll give him some. He does have some other business ones, so that's good. But still, information security, he's got 62 endorsements, so that's good.
Do you know, it's really interesting actually, because I bet there's so many companies out there who don't think about their suppliers as in directly and indirectly, so that if they get cyber attacked, does it impact their suppliers? Or do they think that, do their suppliers have cybersecurity to protect them? Because it always has a ripple effect.
Right. And how easy was it for the bad guys to get into Jaguar Land Rover and say, okay, where can we now get to their suppliers? Do we have a connection from here to the electronics component company? And chances are pretty good that some of those companies that are third parties are in other parts of the world with suspicious actors, let's say, which causes a host of other problems, which maybe we won't get into here. But
you know what? This is a question I asked you before we came on here, right? Because when we were speaking to like small, medium-sized businesses, and I've actually had, since we've started Five Eyes, I can think of 3 business owners off the top of my head that have actually said this out loud to me. They've said, if Jaguar Land Rover can get hit, what chance have I got? And it's almost like they look at it as companies the size of Jaguar Land Rover are the role models, the older sibling, the lead by example. And it's like, if they can't even do the basics, then it gives the small, medium-sized businesses the excuses to say, well, if they can't do it, how do you expect me to do it? But from our side of the fence, it's like, you can make changes that's completely free, and it takes a couple of hours to a couple of days, some of them a couple of weeks. But you can literally make changes completely free. But for some reason, they don't do it. It's like, I don't understand.
Well, it's like I've said this before. I've said this many times before, right? We all know people who have had heart attacks, right?
Sure.
But we haven't had heart attacks. But do we go get checked out to make sure we're not going to have a heart attack? In most cases, most people do. Why?
Yep.
Why would you do that? Because you don't want the heart attack to happen to you. So let's use that from a cybersecurity perspective. Just because you have not had a cyber attack yet doesn't mean it's going to come. And if it does, and you may never come, it may never come at all. But if it does come, can you afford the after effects and the impact financially that it will cause to you? Now, I mean, Jaguar Land Rover not going out of business, right? We've already assumed their loss is almost they're almost $2 billion now. So
the reason they're not going out of business is because they went crawling to the UK government asking for a loan. That's why they're not going out of business.
Whoa,
Yes.
I did not know that. So that's a good one.
Yes, they went to the UK government, and I believe the loan was 1.5 billion.
Why? Okay, so let me ask you this question: why would the UK government even pay that? Why would they even give them the loan? Well, I guess they get it paid back. So I guess it's a loan, not a handout, but still.
Of course, yeah. I mean, it's you know what? It's actually a good question because you know British Airways, the airline.
Sure.
Yeah. So during COVID, they were very, very close to going bankrupt because of COVID, because obviously nobody's flying. Like their cash flow, their profit margins must have not been great at the time. And they went to the UK government asking for a loan to tie them over COVID. And the UK government said, we're not giving you a loan.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, why did they not give a loan to British Airways, but they've given a loan to Jaguar Land Rover?
And Jaguar Land Rover is not even owned by a UK entity, right? It's owned by an Indian company.
That's right. Yep, that's correct.
So, okay, why didn't India give them money? I don't know. It's nuts.
I mean, that's probably a conspiracy on its own, but it's like, yeah, like, why did the government give them the money? Because my initial answer I wanted to say is because it impacts so many jobs, so many companies in the UK.
Sure.
But let's be honest, the government doesn't care about that shit at all, do they? They do not. They don't support. Well, I don't know what it's like in the US, but certainly in the UK, they don't support entrepreneurship. They don't support businesses, jobs. So what? So I'm not buying into that's why they gave Jaguar Land Rover the money, but I'd be curious to know why they did give them the money.
Yeah, good question. But one of the things, we talk about when we talk to potential clients is the importance of threat intelligence and understanding the threat that's targeting you, right? And so we try to provide intelligence products that say, here's what's going on, here's the things we see, here's the things you can fix. Do you have any indication that Jaguar did any of this beforehand, was paying attention to what they are?
No. I mean, had they seen, so bring this into a medical analogy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Had they went and seen a cyber doctor 6 months before this happened, the cyber doctor would have said, right, GLR, you've got high blood pressure through the roof. You have got stage 4 cancer that's spread to your major organs. You really need to start taking high blood pressure tablets, maximum dosage, bring that blood pressure down, and you need chemotherapy right away. But they haven't done it because it ties back to this. It won't happen to me. It will happen to somebody else. I'm not paying $5 million, blah, 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 blah. Boom. But then again, it's happened and they've survived because they've got a loan from the government. So again, I talk about it's like Jaguar Land Rover is the big brother of the UK. The small medium size companies will go, well, if we get cyber attacked, we'll just go to the UK government. They'll give us money. So we don't need cyber security. We'll just get a loan from the government.
There's that. That's a good point.
And that ain't going to bloody happen, but here we are.
So what do we learn from this? Is there lessons to be learned at all?
Yes. However, it's only if you're willing to learn. I mean, it's one of those ones you can teach somebody something, but if they don't want to be taught, then you're wasting your breath there, aren't you? So, because the hacking group that did it, they've allegedly retired, haven't they? They've said they've gone underground now. They're not doing it anymore.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. Because you shouldn't trust the bad guys to get into your system. So you should put all sorts of things up. But when they say stuff after they got in, believe it all.
Of course.
And I'm sure that if JLR had paid the ransom, they would have deleted all the information and never put it anywhere else. I say that sarcastically because they would not have done that. They would have already provided it with other groups who would already have access to it, and it's going to cause all sorts of problems. And they should be happy they're not based in the U.S. Let's just say that. The U.S.
Did GLR get held for ransom? Has that been disclosed?
Yeah.
I'm not seeing anything about that. I'm curious to see how much they asked for.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it wasn't. I thought so. The group that took responsibility was called Scattered Lapsus Hunters.
That's right. Yep.
Maybe
Because
they
it's
won't-
amalgamation. It's amalgamation of free hacking groups, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure. I mean, why else would you take it if you weren't going to extort them? But maybe it wasn't ransomware. Maybe they didn't encrypt it. Maybe they just went in, stole the stuff, and said, "Oh, like they said, they released plans for a future car." Correct?
Yes, on Telegram.
Yeah.
Yep.
So maybe they were just extorting them. I mean, maybe it was just extortion for the data. Would be my guess. So it's not necessarily a ransom attack per se. But again, we won't know until they actually come out and say, "Here's everything that happened." But I mean, I would think that. Well, Scattered Spider is like that's a Chinese group. I'm going to guess this whole group is bull crap because, like you're saying, it's an amalgamation of 3 different groups. So it's not Shiny Hunters, it's not Lapsus, it's not Scattered Spider, which is a Chinese APT. So it's probably not even a real group at all.
No, it's an amalgamation of those free hacking groups.
I get it, but what I'm saying is they probably don't really exist as anything. It's just a group where they're going to call themselves this because they use the tactics of those 3. So here's a SOC radar report on who they are. The Unite members of Scattered Spider, Lapsus, and Shiny Hunters, social engineering, extortion. Yeah, it doesn't look like ransomware is one of their things. I don't see any kind of ransomware stuff. It's just extortion of your data. So
yeah, I knew it was an amalgamation of those free hacking groups, and I don't remember their doctrine being ransom. That's why I thought I'd ask.
All right, fair enough. I didn't know. I was just guessing.
There we go.
Or not paying close enough attention to the news. That's certainly possible too. All right.
So, do you think there's any lessons to be learned from this, or do you think this is just the equivalent of Equifax again? It's just
it's all of these. It's the same lesson every time. Companies that should be able to protect themselves are not investing in the means to do so, and if they're not doing it and get attacked, certainly small guys are going to get attacked too. And small guys are not going to get the press and the information. We're not going to be talking about them because we're probably not going to hear about it because the media is not going to care. If Joe's tire shop gets hacked and they're the ones who supply the tires to Jaguar Land Rover, no one gives a crap about Joe's tire shop, right? I guess that's an English name, a U.S. name. I guess you say Nigel's tire shop. But but it's going to be more devastating for Nigel because Nigel ain't getting a loan from the U.S. government to save his tire shop. But Nigel could invest in a little cybersecurity now to make himself a lot more cyber safe later.
Yeah. Yep. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I don't know what has to happen in the world where people don't look at cybersecurity as a cost center and they just adopt it right from the beginning. It's just like, I don't know what it's going to take, but someone's got to give. I mean, we've talked about it before with the cybersecurity and resilience bill.
Mm-hmm.
Those sectors that fall under that bill are no longer going to be able to hide it anymore because we were talking earlier that GLR can hide it, like what happened. They don't have to give a report on what happened legally. But the sectors that fall under the cybersecurity resilience bill will now legally have to tell what happened. So they won't be able to hide the data breaches. They won't be able to hide how many people's information is leaked. They will not be able to hide it anymore. I don't know. Maybe will that be the turning point? I don't know. Highly unlikely, but we'll see.
All we can do is hope that someone somewhere sees the light. So with that, I guess that's another fabulous half hour of crushing morosity from the Kingsman and the Cyber Guy for everyone. If you find value, you think it's interesting, you think people can learn from it, please, share it, pass it along. Subscribe, obviously. If you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe to that. If you're listening on podcast, subscribe to it. I'm sorry we didn't get more scam calls because that was a kind of a fun 5 minutes there in the beginning. So at least share that part. Like, that part was funny. I might actually have to cut that out separately and have its own separate little video on YouTube just for that.
It would have been good if I got to speak to them because I think it would have chucked them because it's like the first half he's speaking to an American and then the second half he's speaking to the Scottish bloke and it's like, what the hell's happened here? That'd have been good to have done that.
Yeah. But that didn't work, so that is unfortunate. All right. Well, Mike, you enjoy the rest of your week. I'm sure we'll talk again probably in an hour or two or tomorrow.
Absolutely.
For everybody else, thanks for listening. Know that knowledge is protection. If you can understand the threats targeting you, you can assess your risk. Proceed wisely. If you want to talk to either Mike or I, you can email us michaelm at fiveeyesltd.com or dmott at fiveeyesltd.com or Darren at thecyberguy.com, however you want to get a hold of me. Other than that, thanks again for listening. We'll be back again next week with hopefully another episode of the Kingsman and the Cyber Guy podcast.